embedded in its DNA, but this time,
if you love long distance events, allocate the next 15 minutes to watch this. An utterly staggering lineup for this men's 5,000. Nicholas Kipkorir, fastest man in the world this year, won the Rome Diamond League, just off the podium in Tokyo. Can he go one better? Oscar Chelimo, World Junior Cross Country bronze 3 years ago, then to Sam Parsons of Germany. Mukhtar Idris, looking to become a 3-time champion, joining Mo Farah in that bracket. He hasn't looked at his best this season, but what a perfect time to turn it on. Jakob Ingebrigtsen, the Olympic champion over 1,500 metres, smarting after silver in that event. Watch for him. Mark Scott of Great Britain, very good half marathon runner, and 3:35 1,500 metre runner. Barrega's the Olympic champion over the 10,000 metres, now stepping down. Silver in this event in Doha. Vivalia of Guatemala into the final with his good friend Abdi Hamed Nur. Third in the national championship. Yomif Kejelcha, world indoor record holder at the mile and a double world indoor champion. Grant Fisher, the third fastest man in history indoors over this distance. He was just off the podium in the 10,000 behind this man. Joshua Cheptegei, the Olympic 5,000 metre champion, is now the double world champion over the 10,000. A brilliant, brilliant run in the 10. Can he do the double? Mo Ahmed was just behind Cheptegei for Canada in the Olympic Games in this event last year, and Daniel Ebenyo was fifth behind Cheptegei in the 10,000 metres. This is a crazy lineup. The Olympic 10,000 metre champion stepping down, the 1,500 metre champion from Tokyo stepping up, and awaiting them both, the man who stormed to the historic gold over 5,000 last year. All three of them are proven champions. Only one will reign tonight. An epic final taking place over the old-fashioned distance of 3 and a bit miles. How the late, great Steve Prefontaine would have loved this lineup and would have loved the chance to race alongside 3 Olympic champions. I mean, as a script ahead of a final, Dan, it's pretty unusual in any cycle of 4 years to have 3 current Olympic champions all going up against each other and all with an equal case for being good enough to take this title. It's a unique situation here over the 5,000 metres.
These fans love it, absolutely. You know, they get a little anxious when they're seeing nothing but straightaway events and field events. They want these athletes to run some laps. That's when the fans really come alive. And I think when you think about planning a major championship here in this stadium, the directors, they want to hear a sound. And they only really hear that sound when the distance races go on. And it's, I think, one of the things that makes Eugene so special is the fact that they are very knowledgeable fans, but they love distance running probably more than anything else in this town.
And we will both just go quiet for a moment so you can listen to the noise greeting these men after only 2 laps. Listen to this. Is incredible. An incredible amount of noise, and it shows you exactly what Dan O'Brien's just been indicating, that this crowd are hugely knowledgeable and passionate when it comes to distance races. Now Cheptegei, 2:05 at 800 metres. This is a decent pace. I don't think it's in his interest to let this dawdle. We very much enjoyed the women's 5 yesterday, Dan, and because it was so slow and tactical, it played into the hands of Gudav Sege, the 1,500 metre specialist, who was too good for all the wonderful female athletes who also stepped down from the 10,000 metres. He's got to make this an honest pace, and he is. What are we there, 2:36? It's low 13s, and that's why they're a little bit strung out. Of course, he's capable of running much faster, but he's not dawdling, and I think that's quite significant.
Well, and you know, with Grant Fisher up there near the lead pack, he's going to always try to keep an honest pace. He came through the mix zone after the qualifying rounds, and he said he had to keep it an honest pace. Too many guys were going to get an opportunity to have a sprint finish.
Cheptegei having a little look over his shoulder. Honestly, the noise here, I know our sound crews are desperately fiddling around with the buttons to try and ensure that you get a true flavour of this. I'm having to turn my levels up and down in the commentary box because the noise is so loud up here in the stands. It's absolutely breathtaking considering that they're coming round now and they've still got 9 laps to go. Cheptegei now relinquishes the pacemaking duties. Looks to me like that's Jacob Krop of Kenya now, 6th in Doha, 5th in the world indoors, and Jakob Ingebrigtsen in the middle of that pack. He's the distinctive tall figure in the bright blue with the streaks of red for Norway. Abenyo just coming wide on the outside, so Cheptegei's done his job. A little bit of a headwind they're running into there. You can tell by the way the vests are fluttering across their shoulders. Kip Korir is in 2nd place. He's the fastest man in the world this year with that very, very good run. Fantastic run and a great race in the Diamond League in Rome. Kop was 2nd in that race, which is why he's the 2nd fastest man in the world this year. You can make a case, I know you can always say any finalist, anybody qualifying for a final on the track or the field is good enough to win it. But this is so hard to predict, Dan, such as the strength and depth. You could make a very, very good case for 7 or 8 of these men to be joint favourites for the gold. This is absolutely wide open.
Well, and here at the beginning of the race as well, what did we see the Ethiopian women doing? All 3 of them up there controlling the pace, blocking for one another. And now we see the Kenyans all working together. And, you know, there are no rabbits in championship racing, but there are some sacrificial lambs and a lot of team tactics.
2:41, they slowed on that 2nd kilometre. The first was about 2:35, 2:36. And that's why Kip Korir has gone to the front. And on the back straight there, I'm not sure whether you noticed, Abenyo was just waving his right arm, gesturing for others to come forward and help with the pacemaking duties. There he is with 15 on his thigh. Daniel Abenyo, who wasn't too far away from the podium in the 10,000 metres. Cheptegei, the reigning champion, just has a little look over his shoulder on the left of picture there with Ingebrigtsen paying close attention. And you know what? I haven't mentioned Selemon Barega once. He is a very, very canny racer. He's amongst the smallest in that field. He's just in front of Mohamed Ahmed of Canada, right in the centre of your picture, just behind Cheptegei, who's got that vest. And look at that. Ingebrigtsen has just run into, he's just run into about lane 5 or 6 to get a drink. And while he was doing that, he was gesturing to the crowd to make more noise. So he's now tucked back in, and we saw him doing that in the heats so long ago now. I can't remember if he was sitting alongside me, but Ingebrigtsen, Dan, was pushing his arm up, wanting more noise from the crowd, and I think he was doing it in the back straight.
Well, after the 1,500 meters, he gave Jake Whiteman his due, but he said he was embarrassed by that silver medal. Said that he thought that he should have run better, but he just didn't look like he didn't have the sting in his legs that he normally does in the last 200 meters.
And he has just run very, very close to Steve Cram's European record over the mile in Oslo. And the longer this pace goes on as a steady rather than a fast tempo, the more and more likely it is that it plays into his hands. Now he's coming across once again for a drink. It's obviously very, very hot. It's unusual for these guys to take a drink in a 5,000 metres. Cheptegei did the same. Discards the drink now. 1 or 2 heels getting clipped. Abenyo just had to put his arms out there as if to say, right, hang on, I don't want to fall. Gravalia loves leading, but he's tucked in on the inside, and Ingebrigtsen now in 2nd place. Grant Fisher still going well. He was bidding to become the first American to win a medal in that event, and he was just off the podium in the 10, finishing in 4th place. And this is steady again. No one's really prepared to do the work here, and that's why there hasn't been anyone dropped from this group. 8:04 at 3,000 metres. So they've now drifted. Earlier on they were running sort of, 13:04s, 13:05s. They're now on 13:20 pace. Great work by our director and all our camera crew just to try and give you a flavour as to how feversome the atmosphere is here. And they're not just cheering for Grant Fisher, they're cheering for the quality of the athletes before them. This is a staggering lineup, it really is. Again, I wasn't sure whether Ingebrigtsen might have been exchanging a word or two with Ibenyo there. And he just motioned to him with his right arm. They're running so close together, and this is exactly the kind of scenario where heels get clipped and athletes go down. As Kip Korea looks over his shoulder, wants a little bit of help with the pacemaking, and then look at this, they're running. Well, Cheptegei's running almost out in lane 3, and they're jostling and bumping each other. As Kip Korea goes to the front, and Dan, this is turning into the kind of race we saw yesterday, and that worked out brilliantly for the 1500-metre specialist Gundaf Sege. Is history going to repeat itself?
I think that's a rhetorical question, right, Rob?
Yes. I wasn't expecting you to suddenly give me the 1, 2, 3 for the end of the race, but it's interesting, isn't it, that those guys who are better at the 10 surely would have watched that race. A 65-second lap, and again, they're getting slower rather than quicker, but surely those who don't feel they've got the raw speed to run a 53.2 on the last lap, it's in their interest to go to the front. And interesting to see Mark Scott of Great Britain just being dropped and the Germans struggling. So it's obviously very, very warm out there. Sam Parsons has drifted off the back of the pace, and Jakob Ingebrigtsen went for a drink. And how about that from Kip Korea? Gives Joshua Cheptegei a little shove in the side and says, right, okay, I'm going to get to the front here, because if one of us doesn't do something about this, we're playing into the hands of Jakob Ingebrigtsen. And how the Norwegians are desperate for a gold. They assumed he was going to win the 1500. They were hoping Warholm would recover from his hamstring problems to win the 4 hurdles. Both of them were victorious in Tokyo, but they have not tasted gold yet. And their hopes tonight rest on the young man who at the age of 21 has done just about everything. He's got world records, he's got the Olympic title, but he'd love a world outdoor crown. Now finds himself at the front. Ingebrigtsen was 5th in this race 3 years ago, but remember, he was only just a teenager then, and he wasn't as experienced as he is now. The crowd are going absolutely wild round that first bend. So many expatriated Ethiopians here and Kenyans. Ingebrigtsen is looking up. When you see his eyes flick, it's because he can see himself and the rest of the field on the big screen at the end of the stadium. 600 metres to go. Watch for Grant Fisher. He looks full of running on the inside in 3rd place. Cheptegei trying to get himself in a good position on the outside. He went to the front early on, but maybe the weather is a lot hotter than it appears. We're okay in the shade, but it's been brutal out there. They've been reaching for drinks as they approach the bell. There's a huge amount of noise in the stadium. 400 to go in the 5,000 final, and listen to this. Even Dan O'Brien, the decathlon specialist, is on his feet, enthralled by this race. Jakob Ingebrigtsen was embarrassed in the 1500 metres. That's how much he's got used to winning. But they're all queuing up behind the mercurial Norwegian. Jacob Kropp, the 2nd fastest man in the world this year. Cheptegei might be run out of this, the gap's too big. Kip Korea is going backwards, Ahmed trying to come through. But Ingebrigtsen's shoulders are composed. They're tripping in the background. Grant Fisher got a heel clip, but look at this from Jakob Ingebrigtsen. If you can keep your head when all around are losing theirs, then yours is the world and everything in it. And Jakob Ingebrigtsen proves he is a man tonight. He was bitterly disappointed in the 1500. This is not as strong an event for him. He's only run one 5,000 this season and hadn't gone inside 13 minutes. He's beaten the Olympic champion over 10,000 metres. He's beaten the Olympic champion over 5,000 metres. And Jakob Ingebrigtsen does finish Eugene as a world champion. What a great, great champion's response to his disappointment from earlier in the week. That was a brilliant performance from a 21-year-old who has rediscovered his magic touch on the last night in Eugene. Great stuff, Ingebrigtsen. Such heart and such determination. He will be the toast of a nation thousands of miles away tomorrow.
Wow, Rob, for the second night in a row, another exciting distance race. These crowds we saw the far east grandstands weren't very full at the start of this meet because it's so hot over there, and I think people were just waiting